Hi YouTube family, welcome back to my kitchen, to Peggy's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making some Oreo balls, and the ingredients that you'll need will be Oreo cookies, and this is a 14.3 ounce bag of the chocolate Oreos. And we're going to use vanilla almond bark. And this is a 20 ounce, a 1 pound block of almond bark. And then you need an 8 ounce pack of Philadelphia cream cheese. And we're going to start off by separating our cookies. And you'll have to scrape each cookie and put into a bowl. Separate the chocolate from the cream. So the cookies go in one bowl and the cream goes in another bowl. These cookies are really fresh. They're breaking up. That means it's going to be some really good Oreo balls. And this is kind of time consuming. This is the most time consuming part of it all. It takes about 35 minutes to complete the recipe. I'm going to do the rest of the, separate the rest of the cookies and get the cream out, and I'll come back when I get all the cream taken off of the cookies. I'll be right back. Hi, I'm back. I'm going to do a couple more on camera so that you can really see how I separate the cookie from the cream. Take the back of the knife and scrape it. Twist. Scrape. And after I'm done with this, I'll put it in the blender or food processor, whichever one you all have. And if you don't have either, you can use a Ziploc bag and put it in the put the cookies in the Ziploc bag and crush it. I don't know, get a can or a rolling pin and roll it, and that'll crush it as well. But the best way to do it is with a blender or food processor. Okay, so I have all of that, all of the cookies done, separated. And the next thing you want to do is take your cream cheese and incorporate it with the cream from the cookies. And your cream cheese needs to be like room temperature. You want it soft. And I kind of forgot to take mine out early, so I'm going to just kind of smush it a little bit, and then you can squeeze it out of the container. Squeeze it out. And we're going to mix the cream cheese and the cream of the cookies together. And I think I'm just going to use a spoon to cream mine together. it calls for using a blender, but I think I can cream it all together by stirring it. Let's try to get all of it out. Okay. Squeeze just a little bit more. Squeeze from both ends. It's kind of messy, but it's okay. Okay. Now I'm going to go wash my hands, get them cleaned up. Okay, we'll start off with a fork and see how well we can cream it that way. Work it together and make sure you get all your cream cheese and the cream from your cookies incorporated really good. And you can put it in the microwave just for a couple seconds and that'll soften it up too. And it'll be easier to cream together if you do that. But it's working, it's coming out. Let's wash my hands again. I'm gonna get a spatula. Spatula and a spoon. And this is one of my spoons that says Peggy Man's Kitchen. I ordered these off of Amazon. I'll put it down below. I'll link it down below if I can find them. I got them a couple of years ago. I'm sure they still make them, but I ordered it through Amazon. Okay, let's work it a little bit with the spatula. Oh yeah. Just cream it really good. And after we're done creaming the cream cheese and the cream from the cookies together, we're going to put our cookies into the food processor. This is one of my, I have several. I have a Ninja, then I have a New Wave. I like them both. It just depends on which one is easier to clean. And I think this one will be easier to clean with the cookies. So I'm going to just mix it up a little bit more. Oh, it's coming out really good. I'm making a mess. We're really cooking in this kitchen, so sometimes it can get a little messy, but you just clean it right up. It'll be well worth it. Let's put a little elbow grease into this and kind of whip it together. So you see, I didn't really need a hand mixer. I was able to cream it all together. If you get it to the right temperature, you can just cream it all together with a spatula. I started out with a fork. It smells really good. It's going to be real good. And 1 pack of cookies will make roughly about 33 to 38 balls, Oreo balls. And I'm going to save just a little bit of the cookie crumble to sprinkle on top once I'm done with the balls. I'll show you that when we get to that point. Okay, so go wash my hands one more time, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to put the cookies into the food processor, and we're going to get those all crumbled up. All right. Let's go in and drop all the cookies that I've taken the cream out of. Drop them into the food processor. And I'm going to go ahead and put them all in. Hopefully it'll crumble them up. I haven't used this one before. I usually make my smoothies in this one, but it's pretty powerful, so it should work. So we're going to put the top on it. Get everything all lined up. Okay. It's going to be a little bit noisy. I'm going to plug it up. Let's see if I can get it plugged up. All right. So I'm going to do a little bit on camera, and then I'll go ahead and finish the rest off camera. It's kind of pulsing. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do it off camera, and I'll come back. Okay, YouTube family, I'm back. And one thing that you want to do, you want to go ahead and get your, I use a double boiler to put my almond bark. And it's vanilla flavored coating. And you just like kind of put it on the edge, because it comes in like little cubes, little squares. And break them up into cubes. So you want to get the water boiling in your double boiler. Go ahead and get that heated up. Okay, and then you want to pour your cookies that I put into the food processor, and they're all crumbled up. So you want to pour those into a bowl, and I'm going to keep just a little bit. Let's see, I'm going to pour them out and get the real fine pieces. Let's put a few back into the food processor. This little bit I'm going to sprinkle on top of my Oreo balls. So I'm going to put that aside for right now. All right, so what I'm going to do is incorporate my cream cheese and cookie cream mixture into the cookie, the crushed up cookie, or should I say ground up cookie, because they're more than just crushed. So you want to put all that together. And this is where it kind of gets a little bit messy. So I'm going to take off my rings when I start to make the balls, the Oreo balls. So you want to get all of the cream mixture out of your bowl. You want to get every little bit. put in there. Okay. So I'm going to start out by mixing it into my cookie, my ground up cookie. It takes a little while to get it all mixed up together. It's going to come out like a dough, so to speak. And just take your time and work it in a little bit at a time, and it'll come together. It's a little time consuming, but it's well worth it. It is very much well worth it. And these are going to go to the crawfish boil that we're going to have at church tomorrow. And it's a highly requested dessert that I make. I'm going to go ahead and get off camera right now and finish mixing this together. And then I'll come back and I'll show you how I form the balls. Okay, I have everything all mixed up together, and it looks like a big chocolate ball, a chocolate dough ball is what it ends up looking like. Okay, and so what you want to do is, so that it won't stick to your hands quite as bad, you want to spray a little, I use a little bit of canola oil. So spray the palm of your hand, just kind of rub your hands together. And then you want to use a cookie scooper. It's like an ice cream scoop, so that they will all be the same size. And then, so what I normally do is just scoop them up first, and then I'll go back in and I'll roll them. I'm going to show you how I roll a couple of them, and then I'll go off camera and I'll finish the rest. So I'm going to scoop a few. Okay, so they're all coming out about the same size. Scoop a few. And I think I'm gonna scoop out about 8 of them, and then I'll show you how I roll them. And like I said, I'll go off camera and finish rolling the balls. Okay, so let's move everything out the way. So you take your little dough ball and you roll it. Roll it in your palms. And you may not have to use oil because actually it's pretty oily, the cream that comes out of the cookie. But I just wanted to make sure it didn't stick to my hands. And you want to place them on parchment paper. And I have my double boiler heating up. The water is heating up in the double boiler. So once I'm done rolling the balls all out, and then I will, I'll go back to my double boiler and put in the almond bark. Okay, let's do 4 more, and then I'll go off camera and then get them all done and come back. All right, let's roll them up. Let's put a little bit more dough in this one. It's a little small. Okay. I like to line them up so that I can get a good count on them. And like I said, you'll get roughly about 33 to 38 balls, depending on the size that you make. Some people like to make them a little larger than I'm making them, but I like to make them stretch. It's a pretty rich dessert, so you don't need a whole lot to satisfy your sweet tooth. I'll be right back, and then I'll show you how to do the almond bark. Okay, I'm back, and so I made all the balls, and it yielded 31 balls. So some of them are slightly bigger than the others, but I have taken into consideration that I did leave out some of the cookies to make to decorate the top of them. So this is what I used to put on top of the Oreo balls. And what I'm going to do is take these squares and drop them off into the double boiler. And they'll start to melt. And once they melted, then you want to dip your Oreo balls into the melted chocolate. It's white chocolate almond bark. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to kind of help it along. Just want to kind of move them around in the bottom of the pan. And you can do this in a microwave. I think the package tells you whether or not you can do it in the microwave. Let's see. Yeah, it says to do it. The best way to do it is over a double boiler. And if you don't have a double boiler, you can do a makeshift double boiler. You just get 2 pots. Like a skillet, a deep skillet, and put water inside of it, and then put your pan down into that water. And that'll make a double boiler. But I love my kitchen gadgets and appliances, so I think one like this only costs me about $10. You can probably find them at the dollar store. Not the Dollar Tree, but the Dollar General, or most dollar stores. And for sure you can find them at Walmart. And see, it's starting to give you a peek. It's starting to melt. You just keep stirring. They melt fairly quick. And once you start doing this, you got to work pretty fast. And it's not real easy to do, but it's not hard. You can get your little assembly. You can get your kids or some of your friends to come in and help. Somebody can be rolling out the balls, and then someone can melt the chocolate. And then once the almond bark is melted, then you want to dip each one of them into the almond bark. And once the almond bark cools, it makes a candy-coated shell. And it's just about melted. see. I'm going to get a spatula. Okay, you can start, just put them in there and put a few of them in at a time. And you roll them around in the chocolate. You don't want to put too many at once. Just coat each one of them. And then put it on parchment paper. I have another pan, and I'm going to put them on parchment paper. And just kind of roll it around in there. And drop it off on the parchment paper. And it's going to harden up. You have yourself a really good treat. So I'm going to do a couple more, and then I'll go off camera and finish them, and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I have all the Oreo balls finished and iced. And what I'm doing now is sprinkling some of the crushed up cookies that I crushed up in the food processor. Then I made it a little bit more fine crushed by using a rolling pin. Just put your few cookies in there and crush them up really good. And sprinkle. That makes them nice and pretty. And you have to do that while they're still wet. And it'll stick on there just fine. And it takes about 35 minutes to make these. And then once they harden up, then I'll transfer them into a pretty serving dish. So what you want to do is place these in the refrigerator and let the almond bark harden up. And like I say, it'll turn into like a candy coated shell. And that's how you make Oreo balls. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And make sure you hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my upcoming recipes. I appreciate you all spending your precious time watching me make my Oreo balls. Thank you so much. See you in the next one. Bye.